Grab your gear and get ready. We're taking a run at this Roll for Crits Kickstarter Pickstarters for the week of May the 28th. Starting off big, we're looking at Shadowrun Sprawl Ops. This is a collaboration between Catalyst Game Labs and Lynn Vander. In this game, you'll be playing as different groups of runners who are hired to do this big score, and unfortunately, he's hired multiple other groups. So you're going to be trying to get better runners to be on your crew, as well as get some better gear and do some more smaller tasks, but you can't forget about that big score because you want to be the first one to get it. What's really cool about this to me is that it captures that sort of, in a very, I think, story-wise sense, the idea of like multiple groups running for the same thing. I think the Shadowrun universe is really cool. In particular, right now, I can only think, we've played the card game, not card game, the sort of
the deck building
game.
Mm-hmm.
And that one is a bit more grindy, I feel, and this sounds like it'd be more like easier to just have the one-off thing.
Yeah, we should also clarify for anyone who's not familiar with Shadowrun that a run is basically like a heist, kind
of,
yeah. In like a future sort of dystopian kind of cyberpunk.
It's a cyberpunk world.
With fantasy.
Yeah, with fantasy, which is another thing I think. I think it actually, because I don't think many themes do that sort of like, what if we had the ogres and whatever fantasy, but in modern day?
Yeah.
And I definitely want to do the RPG sometime with our group if we can ever get us together for that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, this takes place in Seattle, so it has that sort of connected to Earth. Looks really cool. Definitely probably a little bit easier, as I said, compared to the deck building game.
Yeah, this is one that I looked at as well and thought looked really cool. At first, I was a little surprised it's competitive because I thought something that's great about Shadowrun RPG and the deck building game is you're kind of all working on a job together. Mm-hmm. But I do like that you get to kind of build your own crew. And looking into it, they have an exclusive expansion to Kickstarter that, if you back for that, can turn the game into a co-op experience.
Exactly, and that's really cool. I mean, that also at the same time, I'm a little
I know. I wish it wasn't exclusive.
But at the very least, I do like, because I know what you said, the other two are cooperative. The fact that this is different, though, is a little nice in that sense that it's sort of, well, here if you want a bit more of a competitive style game to come out.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough. It's a big enough universe to have both, I think.
Right. So definitely, I mean, if you like cyberpunk, you should just look at Shadowrun in general. But this could be a good leaping off point for you. This is going, by the way, for $50. So good price for any regular board game size of that caliber, if I can speak. So see if you want to make a run on it.
Here's another heist game that takes place in the regular world without any monsters or magic involved.
Oh my.
It's called One Last Job from designer Brian Cronin, and it is a two-player head-to-head card game that is asymmetrical, and basically one side is going to be a faction known as the Powers That Be, and the other side are sort of your everyday fella trying to break in and steal all their stuff. So there's going to be a series of different types of events on the table that have different kind of breaking points and different cards that are underneath them. And the people who are trying to pull the jobs are going to want to go in there with different cards that they can play from their hands, different things that they have available to tackle the types of hazards and different types of symbols they need to match up in order to complete those jobs, while the corporation side, more or less, is going to have some hidden information. They're going to have secret things that are face down, and eventually they can reveal that they have flipped something over, they've conquered that first, and whoever gets a certain amount of jobs complete, more or less, is going to be the winner of the game. This one looked pretty cool. It reminded me a lot of Android Netrunner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as soon as you mentioned how they're both going for different jobs.
It's certainly, it kind of seems a lot like a takeoff on that, but in modern day, and it's not a collectible card game. There's no LCG element, so maybe something if you just sort of want a quicker version of that without having to go into the whole collectible style of it. And of course, it's not, I certainly wouldn't call it one-to-one. There's differences in terms of the gameplay, but definitely that kind of a feel. But two-player where it's asymmetrical always sounds cool, and heist themes, I guess, are hip right now.
Oh, they're so hot with Solo coming out, and now
Ocean's
games. Yeah.
Everybody wants to heist. So check this one out. It goes for $37 if you just want to pull that one last job.
From Feudalism and Freedom, we have the game 1347. In this game, it'll be the year 1347. You're all playing as plague doctors and trying to prove you are like the best plague doctor there is around. By doing so, you'll be getting sort of assistance, as well as trying to get different townspeople to help you and to cure them to get better abilities, but then you also have to pay them, as well as trying to get more influence around the map, which is really endgame victory points. But it looked like a really cool worker placement game. This is actually an Italian game being brought over here in English, so you can see both. Don't worry, you'll have your English, because some of us, like me, have trouble with all languages, including our own. This has, I mean, Plague Doctors are always sort of a cool thing. I have a feeling, future guess, that they might become like a zombie theme in board games, like overused a lot.
They are kind of cool, and also they look spooky, even though they're totally not spooky. So I feel like they always end up being like villains and stuff.
Well, it's also because a lot of them are also attached to the plague.
True,
which definitely didn't help.
Yeah,
but this is a very heavy like worker placement kind of game. And sort of secretly bidding in different areas with your influence, which seemed cool. And also, if you lose, you actually get influence and more rewards. So maybe sometimes you want to bluff to lose somewhere just to get points.
Interesting.
And I do love the villages you get actually have like a plague side where they all look infected, and then if you heal them, you flip them over to their healed side. So I thought that was cute and cool.
That's nice. Sort of. You can actually get healed.
Yeah.
In this version of the world.
But if you don't pay their upkeep, they get back infected again. So, but still, cool idea. Like the artwork, and definitely if you're into more of the Euro placement game, it's only $34. So, definitely on the cheaper side compared to some of the other things we'll talk about. So,
it's the middle two numbers of 1347. Let's take things down to a smaller scale with Tiny Ninjas from Tooniverse Games. This is another head-to-head two-player game where both players have different teams of ninjas. Each ninja has its own stats and different attack and defense values, and depending on the symbols on the cards, they will tell you what die to roll and what symbols you are looking for to succeed on them. And each player has 10 health, and first player to be able to knock the other player's health down without them being able to defend it is the winner. It seems like a super simple head-to-head game with some extra tweaks you can throw in with cards that let you have different kinds of abilities and effects to throw in, of course, to make it deeper. But what's really neat and novel about this game is that you can play it entirely inside the box. That is actually how it's played. You unfold the box, which is not that big, and once you're looking at it, everything kind of, if there are any pieces that go in there, they stick onto the side so they don't move around. You roll your dice in the box, and you put your cards in a certain pile that's kind of blocked in by a wall within the box. So it's a game that you could play on an airplane, on a train, at the beach, anywhere really. And for that reason alone, it seems like a really good option if you are going somewhere that you just want to pack something quick and you have a couple people and maybe you're waiting in line or something like that. Almost like a micro game kind of, but in a box and with a little more going on to it.
Yeah, when I saw this Kickstarter, I thought that was really cool. I'd like any time when a game really isn't just, this box is just a carrying case for this.
Sure.
So the fact that, I mean, and this takes it to the next step when it's actually part of the game, which is really cool. I mean, I even just like I think Imperial Settlers comes to mind when I think they did this, like the insert actually is like they printed a field on the inside. It's not just great, and there's even people who are like, we're just insert artwork, we don't matter.
Yeah. It's always nice when the theming goes beyond just the game itself. Yeah, right. For sure. So this looks cool. It's $22. You can remember that it's for two players twice. I don't know why you need to remember the price. Anyway, check out Tiny Ninjas.
Somnium Rise of Laputa is a game from Zaffi Games where you'll be playing pretty much for territory and control to be the new monarch. And doing so, there'll be a deck of cards, and you'll actually be playing characters or little one-shot abilities to help you gain sort of power and influence until you've hit 20, in which you win. But if people are able to kill off your own characters, you actually lose the points that they'd give towards you. Sometimes they give ones that can't be killed that way, sometimes others. As well as some other cards have different combinations. For example, there's a princess and a prince card, and if you have both of them, you just win. So it does remind me a lot like almost a love letter kind of, playing different characters and trying to use that to your advantage. Like there's one, for example, that's worth a lot of points, but if you play them, he's going to be the target of a lot of the killing cards. So it's this whole back and forth, like maybe I don't play him yet, I'm going to wait till the end so he can be my big boost.
So maybe like a love letter, but with more going on,
yeah.
Sounds like. That's kind of cool. I like that.
And there isn't really the end game who is holding the highest card. Another great thing is it's $9 for the lowest price, so that's always a good thing.
Yeah.
For cheap, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Love Letter we support, is it's also a nice, quick, cheap game.
Cheap is good. Cheap is good.
So definitely a fun little sort of back and forth game of collecting points, and once again, cheap, so wouldn't really hurt your wallet too much.
So there were a few fun little Kickstarters that we managed to find this week. Certainly Shadowrun, I think, is the big gun out there right now. If you're a fan of that franchise, let us know what you're backing or what you aren't backing in the comments below. Till we see you again, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Will.
And this was Roll for Crit, Kickstarter, Pickstarter. Hey, if you liked this video, then like this video and subscribe to our channel for more board game content.
Would you kindly do it now?